we are once again, Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that's bringing you the tastiest, fattest, scrumdiddly-umptious cuts of anime from the cow. As always, I'm your prisoner host, Nate. I'm here with my other terminal inmate, Remy. How you doing, Remy?
I'm so happy to be back on Crunchyroll's official anime podcast. I'm always happy to do it to support the brand. I'm not sure if we're...
Listen, that didn't work out. We can't... Ditch the Crunchyroll thing.
They pulled us?
They pulled us.
Because of the Funimation thing?
Because of the Funimation thing.
God damn it.
Listen, we should talk about this with Frank, but that's not important. That's not why we're here. We're here to talk about anime.
These super mergers are just... They're ruining me on so many levels.
Well, next we're going to get acquired by Max, and then David Zaslav will cancel us for a tax credit.
You know what? I would honestly appreciate someone other than Sony owning like an anime stream. If this all has to be, one streaming anime service or another one, then I really think somebody taking it out of Sony's hands would be for the best.
Well, what are the big contenders? Because like WB Discovery has the Adult Swim franchise IP, whatever, right?
And the Ghibli movies.
Yeah, and the Ghibli movies. So WB is a distributor for Disney, not Disney, for Ghibli, Japanese Disney, in America for a while now.
Even though like Totoro is a Sony Pictures classic release.
And what, Spirited Away was a Disney release technically. You remember that?
Yeah, I guess so, huh? And Princess Mononoke, of course, a Miramax release.
Yep.
Very famously.
Very famously.
Very famously.
Miyazaki sending out threats, old school style.
I love mailing somebody a knife. I think that's the coolest shit ever.
I love the story. I think that it's probably a little bit exaggerated, right? He probably just sent him a very threatening text.
He just texted him a picture of a sword.
Well, he faxed him. He texted them about an incoming fax that had a picture of a sword.
Sure.
And it said no cuts. And then that kind of, extrapolated to Miyazaki busting into Weinstein's office and cutting off his little finger Yakuza style, saying, "You will not ruin my movie." That's the version I heard.
Unlike Gabe, when the Epic store opened, and Gabe did send a treasure chest full of sharpened blades with no handles.
Jesus.
To Tim Sweeney's office.
Is that true?
No, it's not. No, it's
not
true.
Because Gabe can't get out of his office chair to do something like that.
No, I just think Gabe is not threatened by anyone ever. He is literally Smaug on his horde.
Yeah, no, he's gone full dragon. He's a fucking billionaire at this point. He doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, what does he give a shit?
He doesn't give a shit about anything. And I take back my jab. That was bad. He's looking good these days. He's healthy.
He's fine. I know he's essentially, if we break down like objectively, his presence in the video game industry is objectively detrimental to all of us.
Yeah.
As consumers, but I just can't shake my affection for the man,
I mean, I don't know if I would give up Half-Life and Portal, to take back all of the damage he's done to the game distribution industry.
For me, it's more like he took Dota away from Blizzard, and I'm just like, that is the best possible thing that could have ever happened to video games, Just swiped it out from under them and made it like a huge fucking thing, and it was actually good. Instead of, I don't know if anyone actually even remembers at this point, Heroes of the Storm. But god damn.
What a flash in the pan. Speaking of Dota, did you watch the International? That just happened not too long ago, right?
No, this is like the last couple years is the first time I haven't paid attention to it.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's like, esports just have interest me less and less, especially watching all this other stuff just collapse. But also, I just can't allow myself to start playing Dota again. I just cannot. That would be worst case scenario.
It would destroy any semblance of relationship or hold on a regular life that you would have.
Look, man, I'm hanging on by a thread. Just playing Magic again is already like very, very bad for me, you know? I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, thanks again for getting me back into Magic. Goddamn. It's spreading like a disease amongst our social circle.
Yes, that was not my choice.
Oh,
somebody else initiated that.
That was out of your control. You're just a victim.
That was completely out of my control. But it seems like for whatever reason, it potentially could have been an inevitability because it has been picking up steam yet again. I think Arena is actually like an incredibly good version of online Magic. And I've played a couple different iterations of online Magic, and this is the best one.
It's definitely the most polished one that they put out by far. And Wizards of the Coast,
yeah,
you know, they've tried to do online Magic a couple times before, like you said. I have never played any of the earlier versions, but playing Arena, you can't get around the fact that it is like a microtransaction hell. Like, that's just the way it's designed.
But that is an accurate representation of Magic.
That's where I was going. Like, that's just Magic.
Yes.
That's just how it's always been.
That is just the game. That's the game.
It's like, before they were calling them microtransactions, people in the gaming sphere just called it pay to win. Right? You know, that's how Magic has always been.
It's like a friend told me, you know, if you want shiny lands, they just have them next to the register for like 15 cents a piece, you know? Mm-hmm. That's built into the game.
I mean, in that sense, it's like the perfect harvest of like fans, right? To inflict this kind of game on. They're already primed to engage with it exactly the way they want them to.
Magic the Gathering is the perfect machine. Much like the alien is the perfect organism, Magic the Gathering is the perfect machine to separate fools from their money.
Yeah.
It's the greatest device for harvesting coin.
As to why we're suddenly seeing like a resurgence of it right now, I think that it's pretty obvious that if you look around our specific circles, we're all in our fucking early to mid 30s and we're all having midlife crises.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the only kind of like spender hobby we can afford these days.
Yes, I definitely couldn't buy a boat.
Yeah, older people bought like hot rods and boats or
Porsches,
designer guitars or something.
I'm buying 10 Duskmorn packs.
Oh, you disgust me, you little pay pig.
That's what I'm doing. No, I haven't bought any packs, actually. I've got the free packs, and that's why my deck's so bad.
I've got a friend in my area who's been pressuring me. He's been like putting the knuckles to me to go in halvesies with him on a Duskmorn like box. And I just do not want it.
A box?
Yeah, a box. 36 booster packs.
Oh, like a carton?
Yeah,
like how they sell cigarettes.
Yes, yeah. He wants to go in on a carton of Magic with me.
I go to the gas station. I pick up 2 cartons of Duskmorn booster packs.
Well, I've been telling him like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't need all the spare cardboard flying around.
Nobody does.
You know, it just collects. I already remember where that path leads. And 2, the only reason to get packs over just going to any online store or any like well-equipped local game store and buying singles of what you need for a specific deck
is the self-respect.
Well, I was going to say it's the little dopamine hit.
Oh.
The lack of... No, you lose dignity for giving into the packs.
Oh, I would say no. It is much less dignified to buy individual cards. That is like deeply anti-human to me.
No. That's how it should always be done.
Oh, no, I hate that. It literally...
No, you are just addicted to the little dopamine hit you get from opening a pack and going, ooh, look what I got. That's all. It's just your brain chemicals controlling you like a little sheep.
I will admit, that is a fun aspect to it, but that's not what I think of. What I think of is how soulless it is to be like, I have a shopping list of cards and I'm just going to buy at least the pack simulates the original experience of buying cards, which was back in the day buying, your fucking gum that comes with a baseball card. And it was the luck of the draw that determined what you had and what your friends had. And that's how it was supposed to be. The pack, even if it's not true, the pack simulates that experience. When you just buy cards, that is when the boomers were corrupted. When they were like, I will spend $50,000 buying a single Babe Ruth card. Like, that was their dark turn,
Well, okay, first of all, buying singles has always been around. That is, since the dawn of Magic, it has been a sub-industry.
I know. I just think it's evil.
It's always been there. Don't act like this is some modern day corruption, okay?
I'm not saying it's new. I'm just saying I oppose it on a fundamental humanist level.
Okay, but it's also corporate chilling if you're saying, if you have a specific build in mind, say you bought 4 packs and from those random cards you got the beginnings of a deck, and you don't want to go spend another, $5 per pack or whatever to try and fill this out on random chance when you can get the cards you need as singles from a local retailer for 35 cents each and support a local business.
I like the random chance. I like that
I know, because you're a gambling addict. That's what I'm saying.
The game is more fun that way.
Oh my god.
Let me pose you this. Now, this is an interesting wrinkle.
But that's what Marina is for. That's what you can simulate it digitally. It's what I'm saying. You don't need to do it.
Yeah. I don't think it's the same thing. But check this out. Now, I guess since we're supposed to talk about anime at some point, the animated Magic the Gathering show is coming out. And I find this to be very interesting because now this is sort of like the way Pokemon cards took off, where I see a version of the Magic the Gathering anime coming out and people looking at the show and being like, wow, that character's really cool. I wonder if I can buy the Planeswalker card of that character. And then they generate single card sales based on that. There's got to be an exec sitting there going, this is the strategy. At the very least, they have it in mind, right?
Well, I don't know what they have planned for this supposed animated series based off of Magic the Gathering. I assume that if they're doing that, why not just make the characters in the show based off of the existing Planewalkers that already have like their own storylines and stuff that people follow in the lore guides?
Well, sure, yeah, there'll be some of those, but there'll also be new ones.
And of course, there's going to be new ones. You gotta make new stuff. You gotta sell the new thing. You gotta make
new stuff. It's got to be new stuff, like in the last Mortal Kombat movie, where Mortal Kombat multi-decade series, long running. There's probably 80 native characters to Mortal Kombat. Didn't stop them from introducing a new main character for the movie. They had to get a novel original guy.
I remember
the lamest fucking dude that you could possibly imagine.
That new Mortal Kombat movie was such a disappointment, except for every scene where Scorpion and Sub-Zero were fighting. That all looked cool as hell.
That shit ruled, yes. And man, it sucks that I can't remember his name, of course, but that is the guy from Shogun, playing old Scorpion, Skull Scorpion, Hell Scorpion, and he's very good. I kind of like the way that they treated Jax. I thought that was funny, like Australians being inherently evil and him just getting absolutely wrecked every single time he's on screen. He doesn't become a cyborg Jax because like he's upgrading his body. Mm-hmm. He becomes a cyborg Jax because people keep like exploding his skull with laser beams and magic and shit.
It's because he's such a little shitheel that everyone keeps killing him at every chance they get.
Yes, I like that. I think that is cool.
Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Jax?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Kano. Kano is the one that keeps coming back. Everyone keeps killing him, and he keeps coming back with like gradually more robot parts, and he has the laser eyes.
Sorry, Kano the Australian.
Yeah.
Yes, Jax also just has his body torn apart really early in the movie, and has to have, unbeknownst to him, has to have robot arms grafted onto his body. But Kano is the shit Australian. Yes.
And the actor you were trying to think of was Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yes.
What else? He's in Shogun?
Yeah, he's in Shogun.
I was meaning to check that out at some point. On my list. It's on my list.
It's, TV, not very good. But that one's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, before we move on from magic, I wanted to ask you one question.
Oh, you're okay. You're just ushering us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure.
No, I just wanted to. What is like your earliest memory of what magic is, and like how to play it?
My earliest memory?
Yeah. Like at what stage in your life did you become mostly aware of magic? Because I have like weird formative memories around the game. Or not so much the game, but like just looking at the card art. I would, during the summer, I would go to work with my dad sometimes and just like hang out at his warehouse. And one of his coworkers had a drawer filled with like hundreds of the really old classic cards, like from the early 90s. And he had a bunch
An
of
adult.
Yes, an adult man.
An adult man.
Yes.
Ooh, boy. That's, ooh, boy.
Well, it was fun for a bored kid to look through the card art.
Sure. I'm not judging you. No, it's not you.
And at some point, I remember, learning how to play, but that kind of gets fuzzy. But I have that like formative memory of knowing what magic is before I fully engage with it as its own like game that you play. Prior to that, it was just like a collection of loosely thematically tied together like cool art, which is, I don't know, it's kind of a cool way, a little kid way to view something.
Yeah. And divorced from the game aspect, it actually reminds me of a book project that I found fascinating, but apparently you just cannot find a deck of these things anywhere anymore. But it was a fantasy book by a small publisher that was produced on a series of playing cards. And the idea was to read the quote-unquote book. You would essentially shuffle this deck and kind of play the cards out, almost like tarot or something.
Okay.
And the story would emerge as you played the cards, which is something you can kind of do with magic cards a little bit.
I mean, yeah, especially with the way the art direction has been going with the various sets recently in the last few years, where everything is like there is a story that they've come up with for each set. It is filled with characters, and they write little short stories and blurbs and blog posts and stuff about what all these characters do and the ongoing plot of the set and all that.
Sure.
I remember when I came back to Magic as an older teenager, like in college, that was around when like Shadowmoor was like the thing. And that had like a series of novellas, right? That told the story of the set that you would like get as bonuses with buying booster boxes. I got one.
The scourge of little throwaway fantasy books in the 90s, early 2000s.
Well, I mean, that was also the exact time that I learned that not only do these like sets have stories with them, but the stories are bad and they suck.
Yes, they are bad and they suck.
Yeah. And also, kind of an aside, I don't know if they did that with Bloomborough, but like Redwall, right?
Yeah, it's just Redwall.
It's just Redwall,
Yeah.
The theme for
they did put out a little tiny short anime along with Bloomborough.
Did they?
And they also put out a little tiny anime for the like Brothers War set too, which was legit an anime, like actually produced by an anime house. I think we might have talked about it a long time ago, but yeah.
So this Netflix thing isn't even going to be the first Magic cartoon that's been created.
No, not at all. Not at all. Though, I mean, long form, yes, but there have been animated Magic stories, but they're what? I mean, come on. They're ads.
They're ads.
They're ads.
Well, I mean, I mean, come on. It's all ads. It's all toy ads.
It's all ads.
We're just all adults who like to talk and watch toy ads.
Yes, I know. That's why we're all here. By the way, that book is called Pearl Death by B.R. Yeager. Not that that'll help you. Apparently, it's impossible to find anywhere.
Pearl Death is my favorite grunge band.
Yeah, you can go and look and read about it, I guess, if you want. Anyway, the earliest memory of magic I have is in 3rd grade, seeing kids, 3rd graders, mind you, playing with magic. I can't say they were playing magic because, again, 3rd graders, but they were playing with magic cards. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's cool and edgy as a 3rd grader. Because that was the time where, you know, as a 3rd grader, you're kind of like, yeah, you're getting closer to the point where you kind of want to fuck around with like cool and edgy stuff.
Sure.
I remember very specifically knowing a kid who was like, yeah, my divorced dad, he lets me play Quake sometimes, and being like, whoa.
letting your 3rd grader play Quake is big divorced dad energy.
It is the definitive divorced dad experience, I think. But then, like, almost immediately I started collecting Pokemon cards, so it didn't matter. Like, Magic did not occur to me again for many years after that. It was probably like another 5 years before I remembered that Magic existed.
You just unlocked another memory for me. I remember going to like a summer camp.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, stop doing that. I remember going to a magic camp, or not a magic camp, a summer camp, you know, for kids. And one of the afternoon activities, you know, they had them split up elective style where you could sign up for various stuff to do on that day. And one of the things was playing Magic, but specifically it was only for kids older than 12 or something because the card art was too controversial for young kids.
Controversial.
And it gave that exact air of like, oh, Magic is like kind of that's for grown-ups, right? That's for 12-year-olds.
12-year-old grown-ups. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It brought back a time that I thought that I wish I had forgotten.
Well, you will forget. Your pathetic addled brain will immediately forget it once we start talking about actual anime.
Okay, all right, let's talk about some real anime.
Real anime, not just advertisements, not just McDonald's mom, but some real ass anime.
Bad McDonald's mom, though.
No, I can't. Don't start with me on the McDonald's mom. I can't even get into that. Because I watched some. Unfortunately, I watched some real actual anime.
He watched some real ass anime.
Some real actual anime. I rewatched. And I guess I could make the excuse that it's because the movie is coming out soon, but it's really more because I just don't have enough to fill my days, I guess. I rewatched all 12 episodes of Mononoke.
All right, that's the one about monster girlfriends, right?
Is there a monster girlfriend in Mononoke?
Oh, you know, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Bakemonogatari.
Ah, yes.
I'm thinking of the toothbrush scene.
Yes, he is Araragi is a monster, but that's independent of monster girlfriends. Mononoke, we've talked about the movie coming out, but we didn't really get into the actual show. Mononoke is, of course, the series of ghost stories about a character who's enigmatically named the medicine seller.
Okay, that's makes me think that he's an edgy drug dealer.
Yeah, a little bit. People constantly accuse him of stuff exactly like that, especially in the first episode, which is very funny.
Wait, are you telling me that he doesn't sell drugs?
He does sell drugs, and he does have stuff like just randomly, like he has gunpowder in his box, and
so he's a terrorist.
He has little fetish dolls, and he has scrolls and warding paper and all this shit. But he definitely has, mixed in there. He's probably got like, aphrodisiacs and some blue chew mixed in there for sure. For the older gentleman samurai.
I absolutely hate this guy. He sounds like a monster.
He is kind of neutral in the grand scheme of things.
Well, why does he need all of these things? They're very suspicious when all together in one place.
Well, it's because he exorcises ghosts and I guess like spirits, curses, that kind of thing. Do you know about, here's a nice one for all the esoteric listeners. Do you know about Ayakashi samurai ghost stories?
I've heard the title somewhere before. It's familiar, but it's not ringing a whole lot of bells. What's up?
Ayakashi was a series of kind of traditional Japanese, ghost stories.
Oh, okay. Didn't see that coming.
It was a short-run anime. It was like they call it a mini-series, I guess, because there's not enough to dignify it with a series title. But it was traditional ghost stories, and the medicine seller is one of the stories. He comes from, God, what was it? He's somewhere in the middle, I think. But he was so weird and so incongruous with like the rest of the stories, which are played fairly straight and animated fairly straight. It always gave me a bit of like if Ninja Scroll had a bigger budget. Ninja Scroll, the TV show, had like a bigger budget. So like cool looking. Mm-hmm. But when you get to the medicine seller episodes, which I guess now that I'm thinking, it must have been like the last segment because it's very striking. It introduces this super weird character. You know, he's completely pale. He's got big elf ears. He's got like a total emo haircut that hangs down in front of his eyes. He has almost like very esoteric magic symbols painted all over his face. He's got a big ass box, kind of like a coffin sized even. Mm-hmm. And he carries around a magic sword that talks. Well, not talks, but chitters. So this guy comes on screen and suddenly you're like, holy shit.
Oh, you know what this is reminding me of?
What?
Samurai Deeper Kyo.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
What aspect?
That guy, the titular character, he starts off the series as a medicine seller, and he walks around with a big box and a sword that talks to him.
Yeah, kinda. Though that Kyo gets abandoned very early on in the series and does not make a reappearance for like, I don't know, what was it, like 60 volumes?
Yeah, it was an interesting choice. A real interesting choice.
Interesting choice.
Okay, but go on about Mononoke.
Anyway, he was not the only striking thing, and this is what made me so enamored with the show, is its animation style is, I want to say unique, but actually there was a very similar thing in the Count of Monte Cristo anime, which I really, really loved.
Love that one.
Yes, that is such an incredible adaptation.
The Klimt art style is so like,
Yes, it uses a sort of Klimt-esque style, and it also uses moving textiles, which is awesome. It looks incredible in motion. It's just truly amazing. It kind of makes you feel like, well, what are these other guys doing? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, shit can look like this, and the rest of y'all are just doing regular anime.
They choose not to.
Yeah,
it's the only answer.
The only explanation. And Mononoke is the same, where it's animated almost as if it is the animation is passing over textured paper, almost like did you ever make your own paper when you were a kid?
Yeah. We had to do it as part of Native Heritage Day at the mission that they took us to.
Oh. Yes, recognizing your native heritage.
Yeah. Well, California.
Yeah. But you made that wood pulp paper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's all weird and textured, and it has like bumps and it's crinkled and stuff. And the animation in Mononoke like passes over that paper. So it constantly has these interesting textures that everything is just kind of moving over hypnotically. And that's just one aspect of it. The other aspect is that it is shot in a very strange style. It's almost abstract. It's sort of abstracted art where nothing occurs in a straightforward fashion. No scenes are ever shot in like a traditional way. Everything is constantly in motion. Nothing is as it seems. There is no sense of, they make no attempt to ground you in like a sense of physicality. Characters exist at all points of time and all points of place. There are occasional scenes where the camera itself moves, which, as we've talked about, is very rare in anime. But it does so only in a way to disorient the viewer, which is beautiful and weird. All the storytelling is left up to your interpretive imagination, which is fantastic. So it is an anime which is a series of drawings, and they are focused on confusing and delighting you at every frame instead of simply narrating to you, which is my favorite possible style of animation.
Well, what is it we're always saying? Like the point of animation is to put cool shit on the screen, right?
Yes. That is the thing I say about all visual media constantly. The little annoying thing I constantly repeat, which is like, you can show me anything and you chose to show me that.
Yeah. And so I obviously like it. I like it when creators are given the birth to do stuff like that and given the budget, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that is not always the case. Otherwise, I think we'd see a lot less animation and a higher quality average overall.
Yeah, and of course, this is Mononoke, the series, the spin-off series, I guess you could call it, is only 12 episodes, and now, like, a decade later, a movie, which is a very strange choice. I wonder who chose to, like, resurrect this series. But I'm glad they did.
I don't know. I bet if we looked into it, it probably has a lot bigger of a cult following domestically in Japan than either of us are aware of, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of the case with the stuff that kind of leaks over to, like, through the filter of translation. That's like the big thing, right? Is most of us over here in the Western sphere, we only get what is translated into our language unless we take the time to learn Japanese. So there's
which I will not. I won't.
Never.
I won't
No,
be doing that.
it's not worth it, folks.
I'm not
it's never been worth it. I want to be clear on that. I'm not advocating for learning the Japanese language. It is a waste of time.
No, I mean, no. Like, do what you want. Do what you want. But I'm not doing that.
No, I'm against people doing what they want.
I'm not doing that.
I don't agree with that statement.
You shouldn't do what you want if what you want is not watch Mononoke, because then you should just watch.
If you
Mononoke.
do want to watch Mononoke, then we're all good.
Yeah, then do what you want. But, like, this is better than whatever anime you like. You know, just objectively it is. It's funny you brought up Bakemonogatari, because actually the Count of Monte Cristo, Mononoke, and Bakemonogatari are all tied in a stylistic way, though they diverge from each other in interesting ways. But the thing that they're all interested in is visual abstractionism. Mm-hmm. And, like, Bakemonogatari, no matter how repugnant I think some of the things that they end up getting into, unfortunately, Araragi is a ghoul, and come on, you guys, can we please be honest about that show? But the thing that makes it great and worth watching is because it's based on a sort of abstract novel, a sort of like literary exploration, something that is playful with language. The way it's shot is trying to translate that playfulness of language into a playfulness of like visual identity. So that is a show that absolutely lives by the credo of, like, you could show me anything and you show me this. Like, at every second, that show is trying to do something unique in its shot composition. It's like the classic example I always go to is that it shoots a lot of two characters talking. There is a lot of dialogue in the classical theatrical sense where it is two characters philosophizing towards each other. Mm-hmm. And in almost any medium, it would be reverse shot. Here's character A, and then we cut to character B, then they deliver their line, etc., etc. That show never does that. There's never a static shot. It focuses on visual representations of the conversation. It will explore the space that the characters are having the conversation in. Mm-hmm. It will do extreme close-ups instead of like mid shots of a character's head it'll for a couple words to accentuate a word or two that are important to the dialogue, it'll just show their lips for a second, you know?
Sure.
Sometimes it cuts to the location, the setting of the conversation, but the characters aren't there. Very strange things. It will cut to completely representative imagery that is only connected to the conversation in a thematic sense, which is all stuff that I'm like, yeah, that rules. Like, that's the coolest shit ever. Like, that is how you should do that shit. And if I was ever motivated or driven, you know, or like successful in any way, and I actually made a student film or whatever, I would take all of those lessons and try to do them in live action. I would never shoot a conversation in a shot reverse shot, like, ever again, because that seems, to me, after watching stuff like this, Mononoke or Bake Monogatari, or to a lesser extent, Count of Monte Cristo, it seems archaic and silly. You know what I mean? It's sort of like when The Matrix came out and we saw bullet time, and it was like, oh, this literally like changes everything. This is a visual identity, and it makes shooting stuff the regular way silly and obsolete.
It has ruined the game for all of us that are still left behind.
Yeah. It's like, if you could do this, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the bottom line for me.
I mean, to a lesser extent, you know what other series was really good at implementing imagery like that?
Ava, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes Ava. I'll give it to that. Sure, sometimes Ava.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Revolutionary Girl Utene.
Yeah.
You know,
You mean in that they would never have static shots? They would try to do something unique.
Yeah. Well, specifically when you mentioned that, my mind went to they would always have these mid-episode, almost Greek chorus segments of the two like school radio host announcers, you know, doing a little back and forth routine that kind of like cryptically or poetically lays out the themes for the episode going forward.
Oh, sure. Like when Michael Cera does the announcements over the intercom on Children's Hospital.
Yes, exactly. Exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would always shoot that scene as these two figures, as these like weird distorted shadow puppets, like doing weird little like ballet dance routines up against a wall as they talk to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I always thought that was the coolest shit.
That is the coolest shit. And Hercules, speaking of the Greek chorus, Hercules actually, the Disney one, actually kind of does a little bit of that.
Yeah.
With the Greek chorus, like actually being...
Oh, with the literal Greek chorus characters.
With the actual Greek chorus characters dancing. They are painted onto the pots in the classic Greek fashion, and they actually like move representationally around.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Hey, Disney's Hercules, we see you.
I like that movie. I'll go on the record. I like that movie.
You know, they just announced casting for the live action remake.
Oh, God.
You know who they got for Herc?
Who?
Guess who they got for Herc.
Well, The Rock already tried it, and it failed really hard. So I'm going to say the next attempt would probably be John Cena.
That would be legitimately amazing if the guy that they did cast was only in the movie for the first like 20 minutes, and then they do the time skip and he comes back as freaking John Cena.
Oh shit, it's John Cena.
Or who's the other one? From
the other one?
Yeah, from Dune and Blade Runner, Dave Bautista.
Yes, Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have the look, I would say.
I think it would be funnier because of the visual disparity, but maybe that's just my sense of humor. But no, they got...
it is funny.
They got the kid from Riverdale that plays Archie. I don't know his name.
No way.
He has some stupid New Zealander name. I'm not going to memorize it.
The Archie kid?
They got little Archie Andrews to play Herc.
Oh, man. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That is bad. Why? Why him?
I don't know. I assume it's because he is a reasonably well-built and traditionally handsome ginger man. You know, he's got the red hair that Disney's Hercules is known for.
Yeah, I don't really consider that aspect to be like super important to the Hercules identity.
No, if you watch the movie again, which I have recently,
of course you have.
They do make a pretty big emphasis on the fact that his hair is red. and that is a magical gift from the gods that makes him invincible.
Oh, you mean because Megara constantly calls him Red?
Does she?
I don't know.
I thought she always called him. She calls him Hero Boy. That's what she calls him.
Yeah, Hero Boy.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I? I'm thinking of Hellboy.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about
You're
Hellboy.
still thinking about Hellboy.
Yeah, in the Del Toro movies, they constantly call him Red, which is also a choice I really hate about those movies. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, why didn't they call Abe Blue?
Yeah, Bluey.
Bluey.
Hey, Bluey. Because he's got that white underbelly, that slimy white underbelly.
Disgusting ass fishman.
Yeah, Hero Boy. Why can they call Hercules Hero Boy, but they can't call Hellboy Hellboy? It's ridiculous.
Well, it's those damn Puritan Protestant morals that we grew up on in this country, right?
Makes me fucking sick.
Makes me sick.
Who do they cast for Megara?
I don't know if they've announced that yet. I just saw the announcement for Hercules.
Who could they possibly cast that has that kind of swagger?
Aubrey Plaza.
God,
that would be a casting, right?
that would be a casting for sure. I would only deploy Aubrey Plaza in extremely specific scenarios. Like when they did that unauthorized Chucky remake where Chucky is an evil doll and not like a possessed doll. He's just an evil doll.
Which is dumb. Stupid.
Very bad. It's bad. Mm-hmm. And they cast Aubrey Plaza as the mom. She doesn't, maybe this is old guy thing, but she doesn't read as a mom. Like she still looks young and attractive enough that she doesn't read on screen as like, the mother of like a 7-8-year-old kid,
Okay, but we say that as like men in our 30s. And I think that if you showed Chucky or Child's Play, that movie, the Aubrey Plaza version, to like a 13-year-old and said, does Aubrey Plaza look like a mom to you? They would say, yeah.
13-year-olds aren't watching Chucky remakes.
Yes, they are.
Chucky remakes are made for people like us.
No, Chucky remakes have and always will be made for fucking 13-year-olds.
Have you watched the show?
No, of course not. I'm not 13.
You've got to watch the show. It's really good. I really like it. It's fantastic. Brad and Fiona Dourif both coming back.
Well, that I can get behind. I do love me some Brad Dourif.
Really great. Yeah, he's great. He's fucking great. And Fiona Dourif is fucking incredible too. She has to play her dad because the Chucky soul gets into Fiona Dourif's body, so she plays her own father like large segments of the show, which is so good. It's so good. Oh my god!
You can just imagine if Brad Dourif like creeping around being himself, like during her entire childhood, and just being like, "Oh yeah, I know how to be a creepy weirdo.
Oh, I'll just be a creepy weirdo like that."
Yeah,
they do like flashbacks to before he gets killed in the toy store. And she is playing him and she's got the big suit on.
Well, so she's in drag as the young version of him.
Yes.
That is so fucking cool. I love that.
It's so cool. I'm telling you, this TV show fucking rules, dude. It's really good.
Okay, all right. It's still made for 13-year-olds, but I'll watch it.
Yeah, and this is Don Mancini like getting the rights back. So it's like Chucky-ass Chucky, It's fantastic. I cannot recommend that anime enough.
I was about to say, I was about to make a joke about Mancini's Sleep World, which is a mattress like retailer chain from the area I grew up in, but I don't know if that is like extremely specific to the one area I grew up in.
There's probably not a lot of Sleep Worlds. Can you connect? Is there a way to connect that up with like Cool World?
I'll workshop it. Some Ralph Bakshi from the future.
Brad Pitt.
I don't know. I'm going to come back to this one. I think we need to steer back towards some anime. What do you think about that?
Okay. Do you have something else anime to talk about?
Oh boy, do I. Now, as you know, I'm on a never-ending quest to find the perfect Gyaru rom-com. And I will forever be on this quest. It's never going away, and I'm never going to stop talking about it. So,
Yes, and your criteria are as opaque as ever.
And so last episode we talked about how, Hokkaido Gals has ended, and I really need to find
God
something.
damn it, I said we're never going to talk about Hokkaido Gals again. Why are you bringing it up?
Well,
we know.
Okay, all right. I'll dive right into it and tell you about this fun little comic I found, okay? This little manga.
Go. Tell me.
Now,
What have you found?
This is a little comic called The Traveling Gyaru. Now, do you want to guess what this is about?
The Traveling Gyaru?
The Traveling Gyaru.
Do you know the Canadian TV show The Littlest Hobo?
I've heard about it, yeah.
Is it something like that? It is a Gyaru that travels from town to town solving people's mundane problems?
That is not far off, actually.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, here's how we drop into the story. Okay. Now imagine the setting. We're on a beautiful scenic biking path in northern Japan. Hokkaido, you might say.
Oh no.
And we have the camera pans in on a Gyaru traveling on her bike. And I'll say it. She is super adorable. I'll give her that.
Wow.
So the premise does stand up. Hokkaido Gals are super adorable. I just want to say that. Now here's the thing. What is the general structure of a Gyaru comic? Right? Tell me in your words.
Well, generally, there's some dipshit. He's usually a huge misogynist. Despite all of his conscious efforts, he falls in love with a girl that he constantly calls like a slut and a bimbo. And for whatever reason, this doesn't piss her off. This, in fact, attracts her to him. And then they get together, and he struggles unconsciously with his misogyny quite a lot. But it never seems to affect the relationship.
You hit it absolute bullseye right on the head there.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better than myself. Now, after we get this establishing shot of who our Gyaru is, we kind of shift focus to the titular dipshit, right? We've got a guy, he does his little intro. I'm just an office worker. I try and keep my head low. I don't want to make waves. I just like to ride my bike on the weekends to relieve stress.
Yeah.
And, what's this? A Gyaru on the side of the road and her bike is broken? Oh, man, I better ignore her. I don't want to get into any trouble. But obviously, is... humanitarian side gets the better of him, and he stops and asks if he can give her assistance.
Sure.
And obviously he does the condescending, talk down, misogynistic bullshit you would expect of like, oh, she's just a Gyaru. She doesn't know anything about biking or bikes or...
I bet she doesn't even know how to pedal that thing.
Exactly. She doesn't even know that she's on a long-distance traveler bike. And look at her painted nails. How impractical. Blah, blah, blah. And, to be fair, she's learning. She's not perfect. But after we establish these kind of character dynamics and he, helps her out, I think she had a flat, so he helps her repair her tire.
Sure.
And, they kind of do a little back and forth flirty thing, and he gets real flustered and tries to ride off. And then she reveals that she's riding in the same direction as him. And then...
Wow, what a coincidence on a bike trail.
Yeah, right? I don't know what...
Wow.
I mean, you say that, and he was equally surprised. Still. He's like, why is she riding this way? Oh my God, why can't I lose this? Won't someone rid me of this troublesome Gyaru?
It's a coin flip, my dude. There's only two ways.
And so that's the majority of the chapter until we get to the end, and he finally, decides to be personable and asks her what's her deal, what she's doing.
Hey, what's your deal, lady?
Hey, what are you doing, lady? And she says that, I'm actually been biking here. I rode all the way from Kagoshima, which is in southern Japan. And I'm on my way to see my best friend get married in Hokkaido. And that is when it is revealed that the story is being told in flashback from her arrival in Hokkaido. And this loser that she meets, we never have to see again.
Oh, thank God. Hell yeah.
And the entire plot of the comic is just her riding from town to town Golden Boy style, solving people's wacky misadventures.
Oh, beautiful. Infinitely better to just immediately ditch the loser. That's such a good choice.
I was actually, it's a low bar to clear. I'm not gonna dance around that. But I was pleasantly refreshed when the realization set in that this guy doesn't matter and she is in fact the main character of her own comic.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any fears that maybe this guy might show up again later?
Well, it depends. This is still kind of early. It started the end of last year. There's about 16 chapters out. And so, we have the first chapter, which establishes that she makes it to Hokkaido, right? To see her friend's wedding. And then immediately we go back to chapter 2, which is the actual start of the story, which is her down in her home village in Kagoshima, getting the call from her friend saying, hey, I'm getting married. I just wanted to let you know because I know it's difficult for you to travel. You see her wacky comedic quirk is that
she's on the no-fly list.
That would be interesting. For what reason?
Student protests?
Yeah. That would actually be really cool. It's like, yeah.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
I can't fly because I'm a left-wing activist. I'm on the government watch list.
Yeah.
No.
My student activities.
No, it's because, like the character in Knives Out, right? She has comedically timed nausea problems. She can't get inside of a car or any other moving vehicle besides a bike without becoming violently ill.
Ugh. Well, I don't like that.
You don't have to worry about it because she spends most of the series so far on a bike. It's kind of the point. But, we get and it's not just goofy stuff. We get some cool character development in these early chapters.
Sure.
There's a whole bit about how, she just kind of sets out from her house on a whim, right? As a Gyaru would.
Yes, as we know a Gyaru would.
And she just kind of has a little...
It's in their nature.
It is in their nature to be flighty and prone to superstition.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Which she is, but she's also hardworking and she's smart. There's a whole bit where she gets stuck in a town after her little city commuter bike breaks down, and she has to learn how to build her own long commuter bike.
Okay, so what she was on a cruiser, like a fixed gear.
She was on a fixed gear cruiser, and she broke down.
She's on a fixie.
Yeah. Well, no, it was one of those classic. I don't know what you call the style, but it was the basket and the light on the front, and a single brake on one side. Just a little town bike.
Sure.
A cruiser, yeah. And so she kind of has to, she does the thing where she goes into a junkyard and the guy is like, yeah, I'll give you anything for free as long as you build it yourself. And she gets a bike manual and learns how to build a long distance bike. It's very inspiring in that way.
Where are these places? When I was building my bike, no one ever gave me shit for free. What the fuck?
Well, you don't have the natural charisma and beauty of a Gyaru.
That is true. I am sorely lacking in this department. Can I ask you, how do you think they're going to fit so many stories into the 6 hours of biking it takes to get from one side of Japan to the other? I don't understand. Are there that many
you are
villages?
Revealing your card here. Japan is way bigger. Is way bigger than you think.
What are you talking about?
How long do you think it would take? How long do you think it would take to ride from the bottom of California all the way to the top?
When I do it?
You've never done
When
that.
I do it, I'm at a brisk pace, so, it might take me an afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lazy afternoon's ride will get you there in one go.
Yeah, well, no, I would put a little I put a little energy behind it. I would pedal hard.
Okay, that's you putting in effort.
Yeah, I would, putting in a little bit of effort. That's a day for me.
Well,
for sure.
unfortunately, she did grow up in Japan, lacking the American human growth hormones they pump into all of our milk.
That's true. She didn't grow up with American burgers.
Yeah, burger and hot dog.
Burger, our American burger and hot dog that gives us our superhuman abilities.
It is funny how it is a recurring thing in anime and JRPGs where it's just like a restaurant, one of their items will be a comically sized hamburger. You ever notice that? That happens a lot.
Yeah, here is burger.
Here's American burger. It's bigger than your head.
Would you like burger?
If you can eat it without dying, you get it for free.
Yeah, well, in America, that's just a burger.
That's just regular burger.
Yeah, fits in the palm of our gargantuan hands.
So that is that is the Traveling Gyaru, a pleasant little divergence from the standard structure of these trash rags that I keep falling into.
Sure. That is nice. That is a nice surprise. Can I tell you about one of the trash rags I've fallen into?
Please do.
Yeah.
Please take the heat off me for a second.
I will. And place that heat directly on myself in the worst possible way, because I did read truly egregious, truly horrendous garbage by chance. Now, of course, that I'm on an unending quest to read all death game mangas.
Yes, like my quest for the perfect Gyaru. You are on the quest for the perfect death game.
Yes. I only really have the 2 lifelong quests. One to watch all found footage movies, and one to read all death game manga.
See, mine are read the perfect Gyaru manga, and my second quest is to never die.
Ah, interesting. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd never considered that one.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
How are you doing? How are you doing on that?
Well, the doctor says I'm eating too many burgers.
So the burger angle is not panning out.
Turns out that the burgers are not the power-ups JRPGs have led us to believe they are.
What's the fall through? Have you considered exercising? Where is that in the ranking of strategies?
Well, you see, the burgers are so large that it is exercise to lift them from the plate to my mouth.
Oh, yes. Like how people keep telling me that actually you burn a lot of calories sucking ice.
Yeah. Well, but you burn most of your calories just by thinking.
The way I do it? Yeah, that's true.
Okay, you're distracting me. What is this you read?
I'm ramping up into it because it's difficult for me to describe. So I have a big list of death games, and a lot of them are just truly morally repugnant. So it takes me a little while to build up like the mental defenses it takes to kind of get involved with something that's like human slave game,
Jeez.
World without morals, that kind of stuff. They just lay it out like that. And one of the ones that I finally ended up reading is called either "Is My Reality a Love Game?" ? I thought it was a lifelike game. That's one translation of it. The other translation is "My life is a romance game?" ? Was what I thought, but it is actually a life-risking death game. Good titles, right?
Okay, so what I'm imagining is a mashup of a traditional death game and like a JRPG high school themed Love Island season.
They don't have high schoolers on Love Island.
I said themed.
Okay. Just said. It is. I mean, you're in the ballpark.
I mean, I assumed it happened to teenagers because it's an anime. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the main character, and then I guess this is a pleasant surprise, much like your pleasant surprise, in that the main character does reveal himself to be a 25-year-old unemployed sad sack loser.
Oh, so he's just a creep pretending to be a student.
He doesn't pretend. He doesn't even put the energy into pretending. He does not do anything.
Oh, this guy sucks.
He doesn't do anything.
This guy doesn't do anything.
He does suck. I mean, but he is 25, so right off the bat, we are dealing with like a firmly adult protagonist, which, as we make a point to say every time it happens, is refreshing.
Yeah.
Can we, like, please, I will re-up my call. Please, can we have more manga and anime about not teenagers who, despite what you may come to think based on the amount of anime and manga you've consumed over your life, are really the most boring group of humans on Earth?
Yeah, teenagers, they're too wrapped up in their own shit to care about anything going on around them, and they don't have any money. They don't have any money, so they can't do any interesting shit.
Yeah, the only interesting thing about teenagers is that they don't understand what death is yet, so they will do the stupidest possible shit. That is the only interesting thing about them.
Well, in a death game, that is a pretty desirable quality to have in your characters.
Yes, but consider this. That goes away in the first chapter of the series because somebody immediately dies, and usually someone very close to the protagonist. So, like, death becomes real very quickly.
Well, yeah, you have to establish the stakes at the start of the story so that you have the tension to threaten the characters with throughout.
Exactly. So, like, for example, in King's game, the main character already knows that death is real because, and this is the twist at the end of the first episode, but he has been through a death game. So he is trying to convince his classmates that, like, death games are real and death is real. But because they are stupid teenagers, they can't wrap their heads around the concept, which immediately leads to a very stupid death, like very dumb. And then shit gets real, as the bad boys once said. In this series, our main character doesn't quite he is an adult. He understands what death is. This is something that motivates him right out of the gate. What he doesn't understand is what game he is in. As the title implies, he begins the series thinking he is in an Otome game, right?
Right.
I mean, in a way.
Well, I mean, that's what made me assume that it was like a high school romance game.
Yes. The manga kind of positions him to be believing that. Now, let me lay out the details. Maybe you wouldn't immediately assume this. This is one of those manga where there is a blue screen manga. You know what I mean by that?
No, I don't actually.
A blue screen manga or a status window manga are where the main character is in a mundane scenario, or sometimes in isekai where they wake up in a fantasy land, and the first thing that they encounter is a blue screen or a status window.
Oh,
you've seen this.
Oh, yeah. I know what
this.
you're talking about. Yes, a stat screen.
Sure. Yes. Like a window that only he can see that is sort of like RPG-esque.
Yes, sorry, I was thinking blue screen like a computer crash and not blue screen like...
like the infamous Windows crash?
Yes, yeah, not a blue screen like the classic Final Fantasy text boxes.
Sorry, yes, that's what I mean.
Okay, I'm with you now.
And he just and we're like, this is panel 1. He just wakes up one day and he's like, man, I'm sure stoked to wake up as a 25-year-old unemployed sad sack piece of shit. Oh, wait, what is this? In the corner of my eye, I see some kind of blue screen or status window. And the status window basically says, hey, you're in a game. You need to... And here's where it starts getting dicey. And I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt because, translations are tough. We can all agree, right?
They're tough.
Translation is tough. It's tough work. And as we established earlier, I'm not going to learn Japanese.
I'm never learning Japanese.
I'm not learning Japanese. So I'm leaving it in the hands of these other, what I assume are capable individuals. Now, in this case, they translate some dodgy words. So the status window compels our main character to, and forgive me, but the status window compels our main character to assault random women.
What?
That's what it says.
Wait, this is like, it says, what is the wording exactly?
It says, you are in a game. You have X amount of hours to assault random women. No, it doesn't say random women. I'm sorry. It says assault
specific women.
Target woman.
Targeted women.
And he's like, and what makes me think originally it makes me think, like, in the first page or whatever, that this mistranslation is because he looks at the window and he's like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to, like, seduce women or whatever, because my stats say stamina and charm.
Is this like a mental breakdown thing, like that scene at the end of American Psycho where the ATM tells him to feed him a kitten?
That would be dope. But no, unfortunately not, because he immediately manifests powers. Like, the status window is giving him powers. He immediately looks out the window and he gets stat reads on random women, like, passing by on the street. And it's stuff like, here's their name, here's their affection level, which is when I go, like, maybe he doesn't mean assault, you know? And it shows their difficulty rank, which is like a D with the first woman he sees. So he's like, oh, maybe, you know, this seems pretty easy. This seems like an easy game. And then he kind of picks a woman at random and goes, oh, you know, look out the window. It's my, like, sexy neighbor. She has a pretty low difficulty rank. It's like a rank E. And it gives her phone number and her address in the status window. Terrifying already. But, you know, she lives next door, so it's not that big of a deal. And tips on what to do. And the tip here is like, she's loose and likes money. And it's like, oh boy, okay, all right. I'm strapping in. This is going to be bad. And it gets so much worse. Immediately gets so much worse.
Now, dear listener, at this point, I have to jump in and say that if you could see my face right now, it's like just a constant, slow tightening of all my muscles as my expression grows more and more dire with this, like, description here.
Yep. Oh my god. Now let's get deeper, because it gets worse than that.
How can it get worse?
It gets so much worse. Because the first item he buys in his attempt to complete his objective, which he has chosen his target. He chose his neighbor as his first assault target.
We can't put this episode out. They're fucking gonna shadow ban us.
This is a manga. This is a real manga that exists and was published somewhere. I assume in a magazine. It immediately gets worse because he pulls up the item buying window, and the first two items that catch his eye are unlocking key and knockout gas. Which he
now, Remy, is he gonna hurt this woman?
He immediately buys. You know, that is not to put a fine point on it, but that is the implication. Yes. He buys the unlocking key and the knockout gas, and he follows his neighbor home. Then he unlocks the door to find her sitting in her underwear on the couch. She obviously immediately screams, at which point he uses the knockout gas.
Okay, I'm hoping that there's going to be some kind of, like, twist or left turn here, and I'm trusting you to guide me into that.
There is, but it doesn't come fast enough, because he does go over to the girl who is now knocked out on her couch.
From the knockout gas.
And goes, well, this must be what the game means by assault, so I guess I'll get to it. He does begin to
okay, all right, maybe let's pick up the pace here.
So that is, he's doing a very bad thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he is.
Before anything can get particularly bad, the police burst in and arrest him.
Good.
Thank God. Like, in the nick of time, and we're like, holy shit. Oh my God. Okay. What could this possibly mean? What, by we, I'm trying to implicate you, the listener, in reading this manga, because I don't want to admit that it is just
it's
me.
just you. I'm not reading this.
I'm
this
the one reading the manga.
Beyond the pale.
But he does immediately load a save file. This is something, obviously, you can do when you're in a game. And he appears back in the morning when he immediately sees the status window. And he's like, oh, thank God I'm not arrested. Well, I guess that's not how you're supposed to do that. Maybe I'm
Okay,
misinterpreting.
it is such a terminal gamer brain take to think that is the first path that he went down with trying to figure this thing out.
Yes. I do truly believe after what happens later on that the author realized how extraordinarily repugnant that was, because he does course correct very hard. So the next attempt is he decides, oh, you know what I need to do is I need to learn about her and go about this in the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for her to go out, and then I'm going to break into her apartment again, and I'm just going to rifle through her stuff.
Oh, I'm going to break in tonight and rough up the place.
Yes. And he's in the middle of this when she comes home with a man that she's making out with and stuff. And so he immediately hides in the closet. And to make a long story short, he discovers that she is essentially doing a Black Widow. She immediately murders this man after taking his money, and our boy freaks the fuck out.
Okay, so the author's attempted remedying the situation was okay, he may have tried to rape her, but it's okay because she was a murderer? Is that what I'm getting?
Well, I mean, yeah, in a meta sense, yes, that is essentially what happens. But this is all chapter 1, so we realize
this is all chapter 1.
This is all chapter 1. So the pitch is actually he has misinterpreted the point of the game. It is in fact the point of the game to survive a murder attempt, which happens, and catch the murderer, who just happens to be women in this case, mostly, almost exclusively beautiful women. So he manages to get her arrested because she not only has she killed this man, but she was also keeping her late husband in the freezer for some reason.
Good.
And so he moves on with the understanding now that assault is not assault. It is discover what bad stuff is happening and expose these women's crimes. And so we establish the baseline here, and the baseline is if he chooses a quote unquote assault target and he does not reveal their crimes within a time limit, the game will kill him. And so he is constantly forced to put himself in these increasingly dangerous scenarios where he is navigating clues and being tortured and occasionally being run over by cars or stabbed through the chest by samurai swords or poisoned to death. But it's all in the grand scheme of catching criminals in the act and exposing their crimes. And that's what it means. And later on, the translators do retranslate the word and hey, sorry, I think we're actually going to go with the word subjugate, which I still think is maybe not the best word.
Yeah, that has weird connotations too.
It also has weird connotations, but it is better than assault.
Why not expose? His mission is to expose these women.
Expose the women. Yes, that is so much better, Nate. That is so much better, to expose women.
Hey, at least I'm trying, okay? I don't know. What do you come up with, Remy?
I just accepted it at face value, like the main character. I was like, oh, no. Yeah, so obviously this gets weirder and weirder as he approaches more of the death game aspect to it. Like I said before, the game does try to course correct the morality of the main character to something approaching a regular human being. And it does it in kind of a ham-fisted way. But they do drop the sexual assault part of it to my relief. This is a weird one. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to be continuing with it because the death game aspect of it isn't exactly my flavor of death game, which is a more traditional, conservative understanding of the death game, I will admit. I prefer characters being locked into a game of death.
The battle royale archetype.
Sort of, or, a traditional, cooperate your way out of a death puzzle, as opposed to, this character has enabled God mode and has to complete objectives in a semi-real world death game, which is I can get down with that. That's fine, but, it's not really my flavor. Mm-hmm. I appreciate a twist, I guess. But I don't know. This one's out there, even for me. This is out there.
What was this one called again? So I know how to stay away from it.
Yeah. My life is a romance game, ? Was what I thought, but it is actually a life-risking death game.
You know what? They need to workshop that title a little bit. That's what I'm going to say.
Man, they've really got to work on these titles. And obviously, you know, I think one of the things that really curdles the milk here is, much like the title implies, not necessarily the wording, but the length and the status window, that this is bordering on isekai. We're getting more isekai peanut butter than we are getting death game chocolate in the mix here. And I think that's maybe why I'm souring on it.
That's the wrong ratio.
You know, besides all the incredibly repugnant content, of course. I could put that aside. It is manga after all. Yeah, that's my death game of the week. That's Remy's death game of the week.
And our new original segment that we do all the time.
Yeah, I'm giving this one 2 out of 5 stars.
All right. Oh man, I need to get some fucking mouthwash after that one. Let's take a break.
Yeah, this is not good. Everybody, how are you enjoying summer 2024 anime season? It's wrapping up.
I kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. It was all right.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I think so. It was all right.
Overall, what would you give this season of anime? Like the season itself? People love ratings.
Yeah, people love
why don't you
rating.
go ahead and give it a rating?
Okay, let me ask you this: how many shows are on your list you have there?
Oh, you're going to go by show.
Well, I want to go by average because I kept up with 2. So I guess my rating is 2 out of however many other shows were airing.
Well, I could tell you it's at least 40.
So 2 out of 40.
Wow, that's rough. A 0.5 out of 10. Okay. Well, okay. I mean, that's fair enough. Everybody's got their own criteria.
Listen, the math works out.
But I was thinking, let's just go over the season. I mean, just real quick, you know, a lot of shows. There was a lot of ground we covered. Without further ado, I think we should just dive in.
Yeah,
Ready?
Yeah, come on.
All right. So, summer 2024 began with Oshinoko Season 2.
I have never avoided a series more than that. After watching the first season,
you averted your gaze
with all of my might. You know what? I cannot talk enough about the damage that Game of Thrones has done to like the cultural zeitgeist and how fucking permissive we are of all this fucking incest in our midst.
You're really on that. I think it's a broader problem than that, but I guess I can understand your perspective. I did not watch. I'm waiting for the final chapter to release so I can just read that. All right. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian.
This
didn't watch.
You didn't watch it. This is actually one that I kept up with like through the end. Because
that's wild.
It is wild.
Wild.
I was unclear on what they were trying to do here. And let me tell you, the whole thing about her hiding her feelings in Russian, like totally dropped within the first 3 episodes. And the rest of the season is about her and the main character trying to win their school council election.
Wow. They just went to the old standby, the school council.
Yes, and the twist, Jesus. I don't know, the gimmick here is that their opponents are his sister, who, might I remind everybody, her whole character is that she's super into incest manga and is like constantly doing a bit about wanting to fuck her brother.
Man, so 2 out of 2 so far.
Yeah.
Who boy. Okay. Well, you know, I I don't know if maybe this is definitely a cultural thing, but there could not be anything less cool or interesting to an American than student council.
No, it's totally foreign to me in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
But according to the world that they've set up here, it comes with some level of real world political power, apparently.
Yes, this is also something that is implied heavily in the gambling manga and anime, the girls' school gambling anime, Kakeguri.
Hell yeah.
For whatever reason, the student council becomes extremely important in that one as well. I just don't get it. It's so lame to me. Okay, moving on. Kami no to Ouji no Kikan, Tower of God, Season 2.
Didn't watch it.
Answer Studio. Now, I read quite a lot of Tower of God. In fact, I think I stopped reading when the author went on lengthy hiatus. I don't know why I did that. It just gets worse and worse as you go on. It kind of starts off as a Hunter x Hunter ripoff, and then immediately veers off into the stupidest bullshit you can imagine. Now, from what I understand, the show itself veers off even from the manga. I cannot imagine that being tolerable in any way. So, boy, that's bad.
Sounds bad.
Moving on. My dear friend, Nokotan. Something that was very confusing. Now,
I did watch this one also all the way through the season. And
wow.
You know, longtime listeners will harken back to your quote where you said, if you like the type of humor where it's one person doing something weird and a second person saying, hey, that's not normal, then you'll like this.
Yep.
Those were your exact words. Well,
I stand by it.
It is that, and I did like it. Also, weirded out about the incest.
Incest, yes.
That's 3 for 3.
3 out of 4 so far.
Yeah, 3 out of 4.
What? God damn, dude. Like, what the fuck? I still think, you know, I'm not as down on this show as I could be, even with the incest. Like, I thought I read a fair amount of the manga, not a fair amount, a little bit of the beginning of the manga, and I liked a lot of it. I liked the first episode of this. I think the incest derails it really hard.
Yeah, it's not a great look,
but you know, whatever.
I did like that there are several episodes throughout the season that are structured in a Run Lola Run / like 23 short films about Springfield style. Like gag a minute, like shorts.
Sure.
Where it's just like, all right, here's a 30-second mini episode, and we'll put 15 of these in the whole episode. I did like that.
Sure. Like a gag. Yeah,
strip. It's a gag strip in animated form, and they lean into it, which is funny. I was hoping they would do more anime homages, like it was marketed as. You know, I remember seeing the trailer, and they were doing a lot of like alternate animation style send up jokes.
Sure.
Which kind of peter off pretty quick. I guess they ran out of budget for that. But oddly enough, you know who did do that? You know who did that really well, in my opinion?
Who?
Fucking Bocchi the Rock.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Not this season.
Not this season, but good for that kind of humor. Anyway, that's
them.
my thoughts on Nokotan.
Live action Bocchi touring Japan for some reason.
Is that like a Gorillaz kind of thing? Like, I imagine that's what the show is like.
I don't know. It confuses me, I have to say. Next one is Sue to Sorugi no Wistoria, Wand and Sword.
I just want our Japanese listeners to know that we pronounce these really bad on purpose as a joke for you.
No, that's hacky. I'm doing it as sincerely as possible. I am not fucking this up on purpose. Are you doing that?
Oh, no, of course not.
Okay. Glad to clarify. This is the Mashley ripoff, but without jokes.
Mashley, but not funny.
Mashley, but not funny. And here's a ruling. Can you give me a ruling on here? If two characters, like, as little kids grow up in the same orphanage, and then one of them is entirely motivated by, like, dating the other one later in life, is that incest?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to call it.
You're calling it?
It's incest, even if they're not related.
All right, well, we're 4 for 5 then, because the main character grows up in an orphanage. He doesn't have magic. She has the most magic ever. So she gets to go to super magic school. And he manages to get in by the skin of his teeth. And his whole thing is he wants to make it to the, I guess, this world's student council, essentially, so that he can, like, date her.
I hate this kid so much. I want to shove his head in every toilet.
Oh, he's terrible. He's so bad.
Oh, he deserves so many wedgies.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, really bad. Do not like it. Okay, the next one is Make heroin ga osugiru. Makine. Too many losing heroines. I watched the first episode of this.
I did not watch it, but it's on deck now that I'm finished with Alya.
Okay, you're going to move on to this one.
Friendship with Alya ended. Now Makine is my new best friend.
Okay, fair enough. I will say I was very impressed by a lot of the bits of the animation. I think divorced from the actual context, the animation is really interesting. There's a lot of great animation in the first episode, at least. The story is very bad. Not good at all. Just really gross.
But how could it be bad with so many losing heroines?
Apparently it gets so much worse after the first episode as well. When they really get into the swing of just like, here's a bunch of teenage girls and they're just doing stuff so that this boy can get horny about it. Yeah, I was not interested in pursuing that further. Okay. Though I will say I did not notice any incest, so I guess
that's a bonus.
That's good. We breaking the combo. Unfortunately, the next one is Gimai Seikatsu Days with My Stepsister. Did not watch.
I did watch the first episode. Do not recommend.
Oh no. Oh no. God. Oh, why did you watch that?
Well, the premise is just so out there. You got to see what's going on. But you don't.
Oh, sure.
So don't do that.
Yeah.
Listen, I did it so you don't have
to. That premise that's so unique that we haven't had in the last 4 seasons.
She's his stepsister. What don't you get about it?
Yeah. I know. Stepsister. Wink, wink. The next one is, of course, Isekai Shikaku, no longer allowed in another world. I watched a couple episodes of this.
I watched the first episode. It was okay. It was kind of funny. I think the bit died for me like halfway through the first episode, but it was clever enough.
Yeah, to me, I went for the first couple episodes and then I saw a little bit of a preview of what it was to come. And it definitely seemed like they weren't willing to do the joke anymore, even after a few episodes, because they do make him like a cool hero.
Yeah, I mostly noticed them leaning into the sexy cat girl kind of stuff.
Yes, and they really, at first I thought, okay, we're just doing like the sexy elf girl, huge boob girl as like, oh, that's the joke, right? That's the isekai joke. But no, they just keep doing that. It just is like regular isekai.
Haha, you thought that we were ironically doing the thing, but we're just doing it.
No, they're just doing it. He collects fat titty girls everywhere he goes. Yeah. No, waste of a great premise. What a waste.
I mean, when you put it like that.
All right, third on deck for you, huh? Going back to that one. Speaking of going back, the next one is Isekai Suicide Squad, of which is, of course, Suicide Squad Isekai.
Oh man, I wanted to get through the entire season just for the joke of it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't give a shit. I didn't care.
What happened in the last episode that you watched? Because I know I didn't make it as far as you did.
The last episode I watched, they were doing a Prince and the Pauper thing with Harley Quinn and the princess of that world.
Oh, right.
And they had switched places, right? Awful shit.
Jesus Christ.
I still don't get why Clayface was doing a Michael Jackson bit.
Why was he doing that?
What were they trying to say?
And, to be fair, I haven't read a lot of DC and, I'm not exposed to a lot of it. But the characterization of Clayface as like a guy who's obsessed with being a celebrity I don't think I've ever come across that.
No, well, I mean, the iteration of Clayface that I'm most familiar with is the version where he was already a celebrity, a fading one, and he turned to sketchy chemical plastic surgery, as you do back then, and it turned him into a horrible goop monster.
I see. I think that was a plot line on Nip Tuck as well.
Yeah. Remember that episode of Nip Tuck where they created a horrible slime monster that could body shift into people?
Yeah. And of course, the first episode of Nip Tuck, notorious for incest. Not a joke.
God damn. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Archie, Riverdale, incest.
Incest.
It's fucking everywhere.
Holy shit. It's everywhere. The next one, Fairy Tale 100 Nen Quest, which is, of course, Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest. Could not care less. I do not want to watch even a second of Fairy Tale.
Man,
Sorry.
if I haven't watched One Piece at this point, what do you think I'm going to... Why would anyone assume I'm going to watch Fairy Tale?
I don't know. I would have gone, like, Black Clover is the closest watchable comparison for me, from what I know of. But that's One Piece for you, huh? That's the connection you make?
Well, isn't the author of Fairy Tale one of Oda's previous assistants?
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
If you look at early art of Fairy Tale, it's a lot more in line with Oda's style before he kind of developed into its own thing.
I mean, I'm not surprised. That makes sense. Yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
Gigi Harem, Pseudo Harem.
Didn't watch it.
Now this one seems like it would have incest in it, but from what I understand, it doesn't.
No. The gag of this one is that it's not actually a harem. It's one girl who is switching between several different harem stereotypes per episode.
Right.
Which is kind of funny if stated like that.
I guess it's all right.
It's not bad.
Did you watch the M. Night Shyamalan movie Shatter? I believe it was called.
No.
The prequel to Glass.
Is that what it was called? No, Split. You're thinking of Split.
Split. Sorry, it was Split.
Shatter.
How could I possibly get those confused? Yeah, this is that, but I guess a rom-com.
As long as it doesn't have incest, it's not the worst thing on here.
Does she never pretend to be his sister?
God, I hope not. But I guess I can't rule it out.
I'll never find out. Next one is Ore wa subete wo quote unquote peri suru gyaku kanchigai no sekai saikyu wa trails off. There's not enough room on this page to print the entire.
My power is that I parry everything.
I parry everything.
Didn't watch it.
Despite actually being like the embers of interest in this one, I never got around to it. Parrying is dumb. It's a dumb mechanic in video games. And it's even dumber in anime.
That's pretty definitive. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
No. As a Sekiro enjoyer, a man of class, landing a perfect parry, there's no sweeter. It is the finest wine, the tastiest meat. That's the shit.
The only exception I will make is for Sekiro. All right, next one. Hazurewaku no quote unquote jutai iju skill. De saikyo no ni nata ore ga subete wo jurin suru made. Failure frame, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells.
Pass.
I don't think you can annihilate everything with low-level spells.
Wait, I remember this one. I watched the first episode of this one. This was, in fact, one of the most grotesque isekai premises that I've come across.
Yeah.
This is the one where the kid... obviously gets all the low-level spells, but his classmates all get like super awesome S-level rankings or whatever.
Naturally.
And they all immediately kick him out of class, and send him to live in the wasteland.
Yes, I remember you describing this one. Seemed pretty bad.
Yeah, it sucks. Stupid power revenge fantasy bullshit. I hated it.
Truly awful. Next one is, of course, Nige Jozu no Wakagimi, the Elusive Samurai. I watched a lot of this and will continue to do so because this is the one my watch partners like the most.
I didn't watch it.
Started off really, really great. Animation incredible. Truly eye-poppingly great. Obviously, people have talked about that a lot. Gets worse as it goes. Not terribly worse, but you can definitely notice more and more CGI as it goes, and less action as well. Also, it's really weird focus on children. Some weird stuff going on there. But for the most part, harmless. Still don't like princes. Anti-monarchist all day, every day. Next one. Shinmai Osan Bokensha Saikyo Party no Shinu Hodo Kita Ererate Muteki ni Naru. The Osan newbie adventurer, trained to death by the most powerful party, became invincible. Now, I'm noticing a sort of paradox in the title there. Did you catch that?
I missed it. That was too long. I phased out halfway through.
You stopped paying attention. I mean, to be honest, I kind of did too. This seemed really stupid. It's basically like a show about, can you imagine this? What if an old guy, and by old guy I mean 30-year-old, actually got good at fighting? What if that happened?
Never been seen. Never happened before.
Never been seen. Actually, that is also what happens in Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, but at least he turns into a big monster.
Yeah, at least he turns into a monster. But that also does undermine, like, a 30-year-old could never get good at fighting unless he was cheating with some kind of kaiju power. Harsh.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Well, people be juicing. That's all I'm going to say.
That is true. Next one. Maogun Saikyo no Majutsushi wa Ningen Data. The strongest magician in the Demon's Lord army was a human.
Didn't watch it.
This is, again, one of those isekai adjacent shows. And this isn't even the one that I had read. This is a completely different one with the exact same premise. Weird. Looks terrible. Next one. 2.5 Jigen no Ridisa. 2.5 dimensional seduction. Awful. Just off.
Avoided that one. I decided to give my time to Mononoke Punch instead.
Probably a good call. We'll get there. The next one is Shoshimin series, Shoshimin: How to Become Ordinary. I found this to be extraordinarily frustrating. Perhaps the most angry I got at any show this season. This one sucks super bad. Even if it gets better later on, I implore you not to watch it so that we can punish the creators for that first episode.
Way ahead of you, bud.
Yeah. Next one. Naze boku no sekai wa daremo obetenai no ka? Why does nobody remember me in this world? Didn't watch it, but I have read a little bit of the manga. This is essentially another isekai, which is just like a sliding doors style isekai where a character who is in a really bad... He's like in a bad world, but not like super bad. Like he's a child soldier, but like they're at peace. And then he wakes up and he doesn't exist, and the world is like way worse because of that. He's still a child soldier, but now they are not at peace. They're fighting the demons or whatever. This one immediately moves on to Fat Titty Girl in a Box. Mm-hmm. It like gives up on the premise so fast to pivot to Fat Titty Girl in a Box. So cannot care at all. Like, holy shit, fuck that.
I don't know about that world, but I can see why people forgot about it in this world. Heyo.
Oh, shit, he went there. Next one. Kimi to boku no saigo no senjo ariri wa sekai ga hajimaru seisen season 2. Our Last Crusade, or The Rise of a New World. Man, who fucking cares, man? Jesus Christ.
I've never even heard of this shit.
Holy shit. That just awful. The next one, kind of weird, but they split this show up. And again, with the use of the word kur, which I really don't like. Seems like a word invented just to dodge contracts. But it is, of course, Nier Automata version 1.1a, part 2. Played the game many times. Did not watch the show even once.
Nope. Play the game. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, play the game. I'm not as hot on the game as some people, but I liked it. I actually liked the previous Nier more than I liked Automata.
You like Daddy Nier?
Yeah, I like Daddy Nier, though they changed his character model in the re-release.
How dare they?
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. It's weird, right?
It's a little bit weird.
Next one. Katsute maho shoujo to aku wa tekitai shitaita. The magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies. You get everything from the title, right?
It's all there.
It's just enemies to lovers, but Maho Shoujo. I mean, that's it.
Okay, I am running out of steam. How far are we down this list? My God.
I told you there's quite a lot of shows this season. Let's hit the big ones. Okay. Isekai Yururi Kiko Kosodate Shinagara Boku Sha Shimasu. A journey through another world, raising kids while adventuring. You watched this one.
Nope, I don't like kids.
You didn't watch this one? I thought I assigned this one to you.
No, didn't watch it. Don't like kids. I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid to bring kids on an adventure. They won't appreciate it.
All right, fair enough. I thought that was part of our Isekai challenge, but I guess I was thinking of the other one. Okay. There was a VTuber show this season that wasn't Mononoke Punch, if you can believe that.
I can't.
Just a VTuber show about a girl who left her cam on, not while she was changing, which is what you'd assume, but I guess when she was being a slob.
Uh-huh.
Who cares? Who fucking cares? Bye Bye Earth, no Japanese title. I watched the first episode of this. My mind was blown by the sheer amount of lore they tried to dump in the last 2 minutes of the episode. I could not take anymore. A world of furries, and there's one person. And that one person has a huge sword that I think maybe she's, related to? I don't know. Seemed bad.
Remember that Spider-Man spin-off show where he went to a furry dimension? Do you remember that?
No, what?
Yeah, Spider-Man, future Spider-Man, something like that. Yeah, anyway, he is on a rocket and it goes through a portal in space, and he discovers that he's in a furry dimension.
Isn't that what happened to the Fantastic Four?
No, they just get cancer.
Oh, right. I like that version better, to be honest.
Okay, all right.
Not a furry hater, but whatever. Okay, the next one is Boku no Tsuma wa Kanjo Gai Nai. My wife has no emotion.
I don't like the premise. I stayed away from that one.
Extraordinarily creeped out by this show. The version of the show we laid out in our episode about it was infinitely better.
Yeah.
Please hire us to touch up these shows. I'm begging you.
We're available.
I have a lot of time on my hands. The next one is, of course, Mononoke Punch. Did not watch it, even though I watched other vampire things that were probably even worse, but whatever. You watched this one.
I didn't make it all the way to the end, but I do plan on going back because I thought it was okay. I like the idea of a vampire who is disconnected from modern social media, waking up into that world and having to engage with it. There's some funny stuff they do, the first kind of arc is about the main girl meeting these vampires and they establish a YouTube channel, right?
Sure.
And they get 1 million views within a couple weeks, or 1 million subscribers, because it's them doing cool vampire shit on the internet, definitive proof that vampires exist.
That's dope.
And then, as you would expect, the vampire cops come in and say, "Hey, you got to delete that shit."
Hey, you can't do that. What are you doing, man?
And so now it is the struggle of them trying to make a traditional YouTube channel that isn't about them being vampires.
Yeah, how do we make a YouTube channel that sucks, but not enough to be unpopular?
Yeah, and so I thought that was kind of funny. I got 5 episodes in, and I'll probably go back to it.
I've crossed oceans of time to stream Fortnite.
But no, it's more, and I don't know how Japanese YouTube is, but it seems to be a heavy focus on live streamers and going out and doing just stuff.
Yeah, going to haunted locations.
Going to haunted locations, going to markets and trying weird foods.
Yeah.
One of the episodes is them the trying to do an eat as much garlic as you can challenge.
That's dumb.
It is kind of dumb.
It's dumb.
But vampires throwing up is kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess that's funny. What if they did Vampire Jackass? Damn, that would be so good.
It's basically, that's what they're doing, though. That's what they're doing.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it again. That's
okay,
cool.
moving on.
Okay, the next one is, of course, Elf-san wa yase rarenai. Plus-sized elf.
I
boy.
watched like 5 episodes of this, and they're like 3-4 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it after a certain. It just turned into porn. It was just straight up porn.
Oh.
They weren't trying to hide it.
I wish that was like not a common occurrence in anime.
It happens all the time in anime and manga.
But it does just happen. Sometimes you're completely blindsided.
Oh
by it.
yeah, no, it happened to me when I was researching Gyaru comics.
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, the next one is, of course, Kono Sekai wa Fukanzen Sugiru, which is quality assurance in another world.
You watched this.
Felt really bad about this one because as much as I like it, I did think they did not give it the animation budget it needed. Mm-hmm. So I guess all I can say is I like it, but read the manga.
Better try next time, guys.
Yeah. Next one is Dungeon no Naka no Hito. Dungeon People. I watched the first episode of this. It's
Dungeon People.
It's a very lighthearted story about these like very contemporary dungeon explorer manga and anime, except the adventurer like almost immediately dies, except they are saved by the person who made the dungeon and is recruited to help maintain the dungeon. It's fine.
I was just saying, what an unfortunate year for other anime with dungeon in the title or premise to come out when Dungeon Meshi exists.
I think they're counting on that though. I think they're all banking on that.
Oh, Oh, they're trying to ride coattails.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought they were trying to compete, maybe. Maybe position themselves as an alternative. But
no.
You're saying they're more the remora suckled onto the underside of the shark.
Oh yeah. No, they're riding the trend for sure.
Okay.
This one is completely inoffensive to me. I kind of liked a lot of its bits. The only problem is that it has a really kidsy animation style, and the tone of the show is not, it's not edgy or whatever, but it's not really kidsy. So the animation does not match the story. I don't know. I thought that was weird. Okay. Next one, Tasuketsu, Fate of the Majority. This is the biggest disappointment.
This is the death game. This is the death game you were talking about.
This is the death game. Yes, this is the one where the main character dies, like in the second episode, and I was so fucking stoked about it. But it just turns into mush. Just like story spaghetti, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like when everything just falls apart and you just shoots off in different directions. Just really disappointing. Do better, death game anime.
Come on. It can't be that hard.
Yeah. All right, the next one is We're Done.
Oh, thank God.
Fuck the rest of these shows. Who cares?
Thank God.
Yes, we're done.
Oh, wait, there is one more episode that I watched.
Oh, you have one. Okay.
Yeah. Love is Indivisible by Twins.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Gotta round it out with the incest here.
More incest. Wrap
well,
back
I don't know.
around to the incest.
Does it count if you have a twin and you break up with your boyfriend specifically because you feel bad that she doesn't have a boyfriend, and then tell your ex-boyfriend to date your sister? Is that incest?
If you want to get down to the mathematics of that scenario, I mean, potentially no, but we all know what "and twins" means. Everybody knows what that means. Everybody knows what that means. And unfortunately, that means incest.
And that means that this show is goddamn done. I'm over this.
Oh, jeez. This was almost a very, very bad season. This is a really bad season.
I can't say that I've been overly enthusiastic about anything that came out this season. But then again, we are, coming off of a strong season that featured a Studio Trigger title.
Yes, I'm not sure that 100% makes up for or explains how bad this season was. But you know what? We'll be back next week, and we'll be going over what we're excited about for next season. And I really feel like next season's going to be strong. I feel like we're going to make up a lot of ground.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know what? The anime, it's not going anywhere. It'll never stop coming.
Yeah, not to spoil or anything, but of course, like we've been talking about this forever. The Uzumaki anime, the good one. That's next season, baby.
I'm so excited for that. That's starting.
Oh, I'm so
That's
excited.
starting next week on Adult Swim. We are going to be talking about that for sure.
Oh man, I'm excited. Okay. Look forward for that. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Handsome, beautiful listeners, thank you again for sticking with us through the thick and the thin, the tall and the short grass, the high and the low
always
tide.
Thank them. No, thank us. We did all of this legwork. What are you kidding me?
Oh my God, he's going off script. Yeah, no, you losers, you are nothing without us.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far.
Oh, I messed it up.
You can dial it back a little bit.
Okay, all right.
We just want to thank you. We want to thank our sponsors at Crunchyroll, Funimation/Funimation for always making this show possible. Obviously, we're hoping you join us next week, where we're going to be doing very official sounding breakdowns of anime fall 2024 anime.
Also,
season fall anime.
Also, Remy's going to eat 1 pound of garlic.
I will be eating 1 pound of garlic mixed in with 10 pounds of hamburger.
Okay, it's dumb. Bye. Follow us on TikTok.
What is the most famous woe in all of culture? Of course it's Neo. He says whoa. That's the most famous woe ever. And how do you spell it? WHOA.